Thousands of years ago, Babylon stood as the peak of ancient wealth. It was an economic center famous for its massive infrastructure and the sheer scale of the riches on display. But inside the city walls, the individual reality was often different. This is Bansir. He is a highly skilled chariot builder, yet he sits motionless and exhausted in a dusty workshop, staring at a project he has no motivation to finish. Despite his skill and his labor from dawn until dusk, Bansir is broke. When his best friend Kabi asks to borrow just 2 shekels, Bansir has to admit his purse is entirely empty. Outside his door, the chariots of the rich crowd the streets, and lines of slaves carry water to the hanging gardens. Bansir is surrounded by the highest concentration of gold on earth, yet he possesses none of it. Hard work, high-level skills, and living in a prosperous society do not automatically generate wealth for the worker. For Bansir, there is a missing variable in the equation of success.
Bansir is frustrated. He followed the path he was told to take, working long hours and spending his earnings to provide for his family, only to end up with an empty purse halfway through his life. He fell for the illusion of osmosis. This is the assumption that simply participating in a rich economy or working for wealthy clients will eventually cause riches to rub off on you. He wonders why he and his friends cannot acquire their share of the good things that are so plentiful around them. Why must their families be content with goat's milk and porridge while living in the wealthiest city in the world? The answer isn't about effort, it's about mechanics. Lifelong poverty for a skilled worker is often the result of a blindness to how money actually moves and grows. This cuneiform tablet suggests a different perspective. Wealth accumulation is governed by laws as consistent as the physical world. It presents money as a rules-based system. Historians note Babylon's prosperity was built on citizens practicing these principles, growing wealth from the bottom up. This contrasts with Bansir's previous approach. He spent years in soft-hearted hope, believing that if he simply did worthy deeds, the gods would eventually reward him with prosperity. But the market rewards specific inputs. Financial progress becomes a predictable result of following these rules, regardless of the era you live in. The process begins with retention. Partition at least 1/10 of your earnings away from spending money. Control expenditures with the remaining 9 parts, so lifestyle inflation doesn't consume your saved capital. Then force that reserve to multiply, creating a continuous loop of compounding growth. To keep that engine running, you must guard your treasure from loss. This means avoiding get-rich-quick schemes and refusing to invest in areas where you lack expertise. A high income is only a temporary advantage if the outflow matches it. True wealth begins when your capital generates income independently of your physical labor. Building a surplus is the first step. The final phase involves turning that temporary cash flow into long-term stability. This includes making your dwelling a profitable investment and ensuring a reliable future income to protect your family as you age. Finally, you must increase your ability to earn. This doesn't mean just working more hours. It means actively acquiring specialized skills that make your time more valuable to the market. These rules act as a complete system, moving a person from the vulnerability of physical labor toward the security of a strategic investor. Bansir's dream of a life of means becomes achievable the moment he stops relying on hope and begins following these financial mechanics. The principles developed 6,000 years ago in the ancient world are the same principles required by modern investors. The laws of gold are as permanent as the landscape of the Euphrates. This individual success scales up. The prosperity of a nation is rooted in the financial health and stability of the individuals within it. Relying on the general wealth of a society or endless physical labor alone will often leave you with an empty purse. The road to fulfilling your ambitions doesn't require luck. It requires stepping out of the workshop of endless toil and mastering the universal rules of gold.